What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of the Hard Count. Your boy Anthony, along with my guy CJ. CJ, I can never count on, start off these episodes unless I ask the very important question that everybody needs to know. That's how you doing there, boss?
Hey, I'm doing great. All is well. My B day was last Wednesday, so
Oh, happy belated. I'm a
I
terrible
appreciate
person,
that.
didn't know that.
Nah, it's cool. I keep that low key, but yeah, spending time with the fam, spending time with some loved ones. So it's real calm. Big 2-9. So
Okay,
almost getting close to that 3-0, man. So
at 30 feet.
yeah, getting close to that 30 feet facts, bro. But yeah, it was calm. It was calm vibes. Sunday, some great games. Great games.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk about it.
Yes, sir. And that is exactly what we will do, as we will give everybody our NFL Week 3 reactions here. Obviously, we'll run down the list of games, give some quick thoughts on each one of them. Obviously, some of the bigger games go more in depth. But listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, CJ, and with the people out there. Not every single game needs a long one, because some of these just simply don't deserve it. But how about this? We'll kick it off with what you have right there up on the screen, and that would be the Giants and the 49ers. We kicked off week 3 on Thursday Night Football. 49ers did their thing with a 30-12 victory. And it's just kind of what you expect. I don't know if I said it on here. I know I've said it on Gen Z, my other show. I might not pick against the 49ers the entire season. I'm not going to lie to you. With the roster that they had, which we went over in depth last week, CMC, Trent Williams, and on you go. It's just an unbelievable team. It really is. So the 49ers did their thing. You never really thought the Giants had a chance in this game. And honestly, it's because they never really did, if we're being honest with each other. So 49ers do their thing. Giants, I mean, listen. Yeah, I don't know if all of their linemen played. I think Andrew Thomas was out in that one. Yes, he was. Obviously, we know Saquon didn't play with that ankle sprain. So you're already shorthanded against a very good team, and this is what happens.
Yeah, this was as expected. Short week. It was a good thing the Giants was able to get that done against the Cardinals in that comeback, because we could be having a whole different conversation about both New York teams struggling right now in the NFL. But they were to get that one done against the Cardinals. But yeah, I knew this was going to be a cakewalk. It started off early though. It started off competitive early. Giants, I got a touchdown. It was like 10-7 at one point. But then, as the quarters went on, just the 49ers just showed their talent, man. Again, they have 3 guys that get yards after the catch at an elite level. And when you have that, all Brock Purdy has to do is just not turn the ball over and just get the football in the right spots for those guys just to make plays. So you got Kyle Shanahan coaching. The defense is just continue to be dominant, whether it's Salah, D'Amico Ryans, doesn't matter who the DC is. They come in there, they show out every single season. And they really put on a great display at home against a New York football team that is struggling right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like you said, and I think like the 49ers and a lot of people around the NFL now, as long as Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes, not many ways to beat the 49ers. I mean, you want to talk about just being in a beautiful position. Your only job is to not mess it up. You don't have to go out there and really be Superman. You don't need, a number one quarterback. As long as you don't mess it up, you're going to do great things. So,
yeah, I mean, the only time where they've looked pedestrian is when he got hurt in the NFC Conference Championship game. That's it. Other than that, they kind of had a close early first half against Seattle in that first round, right? And then they picked it up. I think they still ended up with like 40 or something like that. So it's just they're just head and shoulders. Them in Philadelphia, to me, are just head and shoulders above anybody in the NFC. And then obviously you got to add Miami and the AFC. Those are the top 3 teams in the world right now, no question. And it's been this way for San Francisco over the last few years, but they got to get that ultimate one to make that team special.
Absolutely. We'll go on from there. The Colts and the Ravens. Listen, a little unexpected here, obviously, I think, in a lot of people's eyes. Yeah, the Ravens drop one to the Colts. And listen, shout out Shane Steichen, man. Obviously, Anthony Richardson did not play in this game. You got Gardner Minshew. He brought him over because he had previously worked with him. Obviously, that worked out very well for him. Yeah, and shout out to the defense. Now, listen, maybe you want to, if you're depending on what type of fan you are, you might want to give a little shout out to the referees as well. I know that's going to come into play with no pass interference on Zay Flowers in that overtime. I believe they also missed a face mask at some point in the game. Not exactly sure where that was, but I mean, a 2-1 start for the Colts definitely. I'll be honest. I didn't see it. I didn't expect it. I really didn't. I thought they would be, pretty bad this season. Not because I didn't really have faith in them. I just didn't see, listen, you got a rookie quarterback coming in. You never know how that's going to be. Jonathan Taylor is, on the PUP list right now. And then after that, and then, after that, we still don't know what's actually going to happen because he doesn't really want to be there. There's still reports that he's still seeking the trade. I saw something today that somebody wouldn't be surprised if his first game of the season was with somebody new. Obviously, you have Michael Pittman, but you don't really have that giant, number one wide receiver as CJ. You see this guy right here? Gridiron, he's back.
Hey, what's going on, man? Glad to see you coming back.
I respect Gridiron because this man found us, right? Me and you, CJ. Then, obviously we went on that little bit of a hiatus with things. All of a sudden I'm doing Gen Z on Mondays with Josh. I see this guy come back in the comments, and I was like, "There's no way. Is that my guy?" And it turned out to be. And he was like, "Yeah, man, I missed you guys with the hard count, blah blah blah. But I found this, on Gen Z, so I'm good now." And I was like, "I got great news for you, guy. Me and CJ are back too."
Hey, yo, we appreciate it. We appreciate you supporting us definitely along the way, man. For real, what's going on, man? Hey, listen, one of these weeks, let's collab. Let's put both channels together and let's make something special for sure. Absolutely. Appreciate you. But yeah, this game, man, this is like a classic Ravens. This happened last year too, man. Where you think you look at the schedule before Sunday, right before the game starts, and you're like, yeah, Ravens, easy. And then they have these lulls, and they should have easily won this game. I was kind of looking at this game back and forth. Obviously, watching our squad against the Jets, and I'm just like, why is this game close? Why is this game close? You got Gardner Minshew in there, Lamar Jackson, starting. They played well. They had some solid moments here and there, but it went into overtime. Michael Pittman made a fantastic catch in overtime, which really put them in field goal range for them to win this game. Matt Gay hit the field goal to win it. And just these are the type of games that the Ravens have that they really just can't afford, especially in a tight division, in a tight conference where every game is going to matter. Home field advantage is going to matter. You're a team that's been plagued with injuries over the last 3 or 4 year. So it's every season, and it's happened again this year too. And we're not even a month into the regular season, and they're playing. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is over there, but they're missing so many guys that contribute to them at a high level for the squad. But this game was for the taking, and they weren't able to capitalize. Lamar Jackson played okay. He didn't play great. I feel like there's some times throughout the game where he definitely could have used his legs and extended some drives, a la what we see from the Philadelphia Eagles. 3rd and 4, that pass, it was a little behind Zay. Was it a flag? It's just tough. It's really tough. That referee usually is not going to throw that flag that close and that tight of a game. So it's just one of those bang bang plays. But you got to just look at the other situations throughout the game where they definitely should have won, and it definitely should have had this one done and wrapped up. Shouldn't even have got to overtime. So. Tough game by the Ravens, but then you got to look at the Colts, man. They did a great job defensively on the road, getting it done. Gardner Minshew coming in, backup quarterback. That's what you ask for your backup quarterback. Can he get you 4 wins if your starter isn't out there? If he can get you 4 wins and then you bring in your QB1, he can finish the rest. That can help you get to a playoff spot in a division that looks pretty good, up in the air right now.
Yeah. Listen, I was going in this year Jaguars by a mile.
Yeah.
Not some things. This is why, CJ, you know what they say. This is why we actually play the games. And I played on paper, by the way.
Exactly. Exactly. And for the coach, like you said, Shane Steichen coming in, rookie head coach. And I just think he understands what it takes to win. Running the football, playing defense, that's going to help you win a lot of games in this league. And that's exactly what they did on Sunday, and they got the job done. It was a close, gritty game. They had some mistakes. Gardner Minshew's not a perfect quarterback by any means. That's why he's a backup. But they did enough to win. You saw what happened?
A damn good backup, though.
No, yeah, he's a good backup, and when you have these running quarterbacks, it just makes the most sense to have definitely a relief guy that could come in and make some plays for you and do some special things and get you a dub or two. So
you never care about the backup quarterback until you need it. I mean,
exactly.
Shout out the Jets, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get into them in a little bit, but yeah. So great win by the Colts and the Ravens. They're still there, obviously 2-1, but the games are definitely not gonna get any easier.
Other thing too, right before we move on, this man Zach Moss looking pretty good in his first 2 games back. He missed the first week. Then he's had back-to-back pretty good games. Last year, a reason the Colts struggled too was the offensive line, even though they're one of the higher paid lines in the league, didn't play, maybe up to their contract worth. They're playing pretty good to start this season out. So I know Jonathan Taylor doesn't really want to be there, I guess, but Zach Moss is doing what he's doing. I'd like to see what a good old Jonathan Taylor could do behind this line, because they're playing well. They are playing well.
Yeah, the situation is so weird. I think he wants to get paid. I think that's really what it is, right? Obviously what we saw in the offseason with the running back Saquon, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, these are top backs in the league. These aren't like middle of the road guys. These are like, top 10 running backs in the NFL, kind of getting pennies on the dollar. He's looking at himself where, he's coming off an injury plagued season last year after the year before having, one of the most special seasons in Colts history for a running back in league history. And he wants to be compensated, and it kind of there's just this tug of war between Taylor and Irsay. So he still wants to be traded. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I agree. I mean, this offensive line has definitely played well in these first 3 weeks, and it is unfortunate. You wish you would have seen number 23 out there because again, like this division is up in the air. And if you have someone like Taylor in the backfield for Indianapolis, it would definitely help them for sure.
I just wanted to see RPOs with him and Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, it's tough.
Some beautiful things out there. The Titans took on the Browns this week. The Browns with 27-3 victory at home over the Titans. See, this is the first game that I saw Deshaun Watson kind of look like Deshaun Watson. Now, listen, did he have that terrible play where he kind of passed the ball backwards, Jerome Ford or whatever? Yes, but he looked pretty solid in this game. And I mean, when you trade all the things that they traded for Deshaun Watson, and when you give him, what was it, like an extra $86 million guaranteed on top of the contract that he already had, making everything fully guaranteed, you're a little nervous. You're probably a little nervous if you were a Browns fan after those first few games last year and so far. But this was one of those games where he looked good. I'll tell you what, that Deshaun Watson Amari Cooper connection looks pretty solid, and it should have been even better. That play where they ruled Amari Cooper out of that listen,
it's terrible call.
That referee has to be fined or something. I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe I just get annoyed too easily, but the fact that umpires, referees, whatever sport it is, just never have to face anything for being awful just annoys me. Because, I mean, if you're awful in the NFL, like you get benched or, you can get cut or something, what? I mean, maybe, listen, we probably just don't hear about it, but do you ever hear about NFL referees and umpires and stuff getting benched or taken off of games or something like that? Now, listen, they don't get promoted into, the postseason stuff, which is obviously, what all of them want. But, what if the Browns, obviously they won this game comfortably, 27-3. What if that determined the outcome of the game? Because I believe on that drive, they ended up having to settle for a field goal. He was in for 7. He was in. That was a touchdown. I mean, he finished off the – Here's my thing that I guess I wish the NFL would do as a whole. Just let play continue. Like, wouldn't you rather have that than making a mistake like that? Now, listen, obviously it's a little bit of an over-exaggeration because stuff like this does not happen all the time. But I just feel like, wouldn't you rather have it that damn, we got it wrong. That exciting touchdown's coming back because he stepped out of bounds instead of, oh no, he never stepped out and that was just a 75-yard touchdown. That's a little awkward. I don't know. I just feel like you would rather have it that way. But the Browns offense looked pretty solid. The Browns defense, Myles Garrett leading the charge, obviously looked good in this one, holding the Titans to 3 points. And first game without Nick Chubb. Good news coming out of him. I believe they think it's just like an MCL type of situation.
That's great.
One,
it could have been a lot worse.
You see the side angle of his injury. I don't know.
It was bad.
I don't know how. I mean, listen, the body isn't obviously supposed to bend that way, which is why he got hurt. But I mean, the fact that it's not worse is just simply unbelievable to me. So yeah, Browns offense looks pretty solid though.
Yeah, this was a great win by the Browns. As you said at the top, when you started talking about the game, this was easily Deshaun Watson's best game as a Cleveland Brown. This was his best game since being back, pretty much. It's kind of both the same thing. Just he was in the pocket, comfortable. They were protecting him well, throwing dimes, running around a little bit. You see some of the improv, and what he's been able to do in Houston over those last few years. That Amari Cooper connection, yeah, it looks great. Amari Cooper, man, it's just one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. I mean, he's just like, Lockett a little bit, but I feel like he's a little bit more productive. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is, Carr, whoever they had last year before Watson came, Brissett. They had a bunch of guys last year in Cleveland. Still got a stack. I mean, when he had Dak, Cooper Rush for a couple games, and that it just doesn't matter who's out there. He produces, and it's been that way since Alabama. I mean, he's always played at a high level. He's always brought it every single year. One of the best route runners in the league, and now he has a quarterback that we expect to continue to play at a high level. And I think this is a great game. This is a great game for the Browns. Obviously, when you lose your best player, I mean the best player on the team in that crazy fashion, and when they lost him on a Monday night game, that can really gut the team. Mentally, definitely physically and everything. So they brought in Kareem Hunt. They brought Kareem Hunt back. He's familiar with the system, familiar with the scheme. So that was a great pickup. Ford has been a great acquisition for them. Had 2 touchdowns in this game. So yeah, and the defense, man. I think this defense is extremely underrated. I know we talk about Dallas. We've talked about the Jets. We talk about the 49ers and the Steelers defense. This defense is great. You got Denzel Ward, shut down corner on one side, and then you got one of the best. You have a top 10 player in the world in Myles Garrett. I mean, he's going for that Defensive Player of the Year award. He's been right there, top 2, top 3 in the voting over the last few seasons. I think he's trying to get there for sure. He's unblockable one-on-one. I mean, I'm pretty sure you saw the play where he was running across the D line and 2 tight ends were traveling with him. That just goes to show the amount of respect that someone, a defensive-minded head coach and Mike Vrabel has for someone like Myles Garrett, and he's just a freak of nature, bro. And he's just living up to being that number 1 pick a few years ago. Absolutely. And he's one of the best players in football. So this was a really good win for the Browns, because the Titans are a type of team where they could come in there, and if you sleep on them, they could definitely go get a dub. Sneaky, and be like, oh yeah, they're a sneaky type team. But this also shows me these type of games is just why the Titans, they're good, but they're never going to be great. And then despite having, Derrick Henry and bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, who made some really nice plays and some nice catches in this game, just Tannehill's just not that guy. Mm-hmm. He's just not. And looking at that division, the way Anthony Richardson's looked over the first month, the way CJ Stroud has looked, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, and how well he played against Jacksonville. They've dominated the division outside of last year. For the last 4 or 5 years or so, because the quarterback play in their division wasn't high. Now, as those teams were bad, they're going to get top picks, meaning they're going to get quarterbacks because everybody's going to get a quarterback in the top 10 in the draft. And the Colts and the Texans are able to do so, and the Jaguars got one a couple years ago. So they could be on the outside looking in this division if they don't figure that out. So that's going to be an issue. They're always going to be a tough game. You can't sleep on them, like I said earlier. But if they really want to get to where they want to go to and have sustained success in the AFC and in their division, they have to find a quarterback, because Tannehill is just middle of the road. He'll have a great couple games here and there, and then he'll play like how he played against Cincinnati in the playoffs and throw 3 interceptions. So
First game of the season, he threw 3.
yeah, so that's just who he is. That's just who he is, man. And they have to figure that. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, finding a franchise guy is not an easy thing to do. He's kind of been a great band-aid for them over the last 6 years or so, but they need to find that guy fast because I think Houston got one for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. We move over to the Falcons and the Lions. CJ, listen. I don't think I'm right that often, but when I am, I like to say that I am. This man, Amon St. Brown, just keeps proving me right every single week. Another 9 for 102. I just like pointing that out. Also, Sam Laporta, rookie tight end over there for the Lions, turning out to be a guy. Turning out to be a guy or somebody that they can obviously rely on. 8 for 84 in this game. Obviously Lions 20-6 victory here. And it was just a solid win for them. I mean, listen, I know the Falcons are 2-0. I still don't expect too much out of them. I don't think Desmond Ridder is exactly that guy by any stretch of the imagination. But they held Bijan, who's looked pretty solid the first few games of the year, to 10 for 33. I mean, the offense just doesn't look very good. I mean, Kyle Pitts had 5 catches for 41 yards. That's their leading receiver. Drake London, another poor performance for 2 for 31. I know that they're not worried about our fantasy lineups, but you should be worried about how your offense actually plays. And when your 2 best players are, what did I see? That Darnold Parham of the Chargers, I think, has 3 touchdowns this season. That's how many touchdowns Kyle Pitts has for his entire career. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. He didn't barely scored any touchdowns last year. It's crazy. I had him in fantasy. Trust me, I know.
Listen, CJ, don't care about your fantasy, all right?
Well, I should have used him.
I mean, what? He had 1,000 yards his first season, and then it's just been kind of nothing. Last year and so far this year, you would think that you would find ways to get him involved if it's, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not an offensive coordinator, but him and Drake London, a lot of people around the league think are very good, so you would think that they would be able to scheme them open, either pick plays or just, maybe the crossing routes, use some of the speed, or Kyle Pitts, use his height, get him on one-on-one matchups with linebackers or safeties or anything of that nature. It's just, I mean, I said I have no confidence in Ridder to pass the ball when they need to. I mean, that's the other thing. The offense and those 2 players might be struggling, and it also could be because Desmond Ridder just isn't very good at football. So, but yeah, I mean, Lions 20-6. Obviously, they look forward tomorrow. They're playing the Packers on Thursday night. So, we'll see how that goes. But what do you see in this one, CJ?
Yeah, this was a dominant performance by the Lions defensively, for sure. I mean, holding the team, they're a younger squad, but they do have some offensive talent, young offensive talent. Holding that team to 6 points is it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And that's really what I want to see from Detroit. I know they have the guys on offense. I know you've been higher on Amon St. Brown for the last couple of years or so. Gibbs is going to come around. Laporta, like you talked about, the young tight end coming in there. Filling that void for TJ Hawkinson, who went to Minnesota last year via the trade deadline. So offensively, I know they're going to be fine there. They scored a bunch of points last year. I just want to see how they play defensively, and those guys did a great job defensively at home, protecting home field on Sunday. It's just weird what we're seeing right now in Atlanta, because I know they're 2-1, and you could kind of look at that as morally and be like, oh, we're 2-1, we lost 1 game, but it just hasn't been pretty. It hasn't looked like how it should look. Arthur Smith is supposed to be an offensive-minded guy. He came from Tennessee when, Derrick Henry was running around the field and, setting records. You would think he'd be able to come into Atlanta and be able to do at least something similar. Hasn't really been the case. They got Algieri, their second-year running back, who's also pretty good. Cordell Patterson hasn't played. So it's just I just don't understand how you go through a week and you don't find at least 7 or 8 plays to get Kyle Pitts involved. For him to only have 5 catches in the game when he's, him and Drake London are 2 of your best pass catchers. And he's a tight end.
Had 2 catches.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like both of those guys had 7 catches combined in a 60-minute ball game. Like, that's just crazy to me. I just don't understand. It's not like the Lions defense or the 2000 Ravens. Like, right, they're solid, but you still got to find some way to get those guys to football on a consistent basis. And I know Desmond Ridder, he's not, this elite quarterback, pocket passer. Okay, but you still should find definitely. You telling me that you can't create some plays or create some schemes and set up a script to get these guys to football. That's just crazy to me. And they have to figure that out because we're starting to see some trade rumors now with Pitts. I don't know how true they are, but just once those stories start to circulate, eventually, some of that stuff is true. And I mean, he's like one of your best young players on the team, one of your best players on the team. You got to get him the football, man. You have to get him the football somehow, some way. So tough situation there. We'll see what happens as the weeks go on. But this is a good win for the Lions. Like you said earlier, they go up against their divisional rival and the Green Bay Packers. They've been the king of that division forever. I mean, for the longest. So, to get this win, not let this one slip, knowing you have a short week on Thursday and then go up against, the team that you beat at the end of the season last year. But this win, this is different now because now there's no Aaron Rodgers. This is the game where you can establish yourself as the team in the NFC North, and it's gonna be a tough battle, because this Packer team, as we're about to get into, they're resilient. They don't lay down. They fight till the end, and they got a young quarterback who's hungry too, and did a great job in the second half of that game. So they're gonna have to establish like this is our time now, and we'll see, but a good win for the Lions.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it. We'll move on to the Saints and the Packers. I'm not going to lie. Never turned this one on at any point during my watching experience of the weekend, which, by the way, listen, I know I said some bad things about the good old Sunday ticket on YouTube TV, which, by the way, still don't enjoy the fact that I can't choose what games I want to watch. They kind of bundle them all together in a way. Because why can't you just let me choose? But anyway, I finally got it on the TV this weekend. Much better of a viewing experience. I will give them credit for that one. But the Saints and the Packers were never on there. And, also going into the fourth quarter, you kind of see 17-0. You're like, okay, well, I guess that game's kind of over. The Saints defense is good, which, by the way, I can't remember the exact number, but they haven't given up 20 points in like a certain amount of games or something of that nature. So obviously that defense is, I feel like it's talked about when you talk about the Saints, but it's not talked about as one of the, premier defenses in the league. You mentioned the Saints, you kind of first go to their defense, at least in my eyes. Right. But it's never like, oh yeah, this defense and the Saints. It's like, I feel like they just kind of get left out sometimes, but got to start talking about them. This man, Cam Jordan over there, still doing his thing.
Pretty great football player.
Doing his thing. Been around for a long time too.
Yes.
Long time. But 17-0 going into the fourth quarter. And then, listen, things started to turn around. You get a nice little 18-point comeback for the Packers. Jordan Love, hey, he's doing his thing, man. Maybe the Packers did it again. I mean, listen, obviously it's 3 games into the career, but he's looked pretty solid. Hasn't really been turning the ball over. And, Christian Watson still hasn't played. Aaron Jones has been out, 2/3 so far. I mean, hey, kind of impressive if you ask me. And then obviously the other big story coming out of this, Derek Carr sprained his AC joint, I believe it is.
Yes.
And I believe Dennis Allen said it's more of a pain management thing. So we will have to see if he is going to play this week. But good win for the Packers.
Yeah, it's a great win. It's a great win for the Packers, man. again, they're just finding ways to get the W. They just find the ways to get the W. And when you have a young quarterback, that's all you could ask for. I mean, you just finding ways to win, not laying down. I know the Saints defense is excellent. It's unfortunate. I don't want to say they're being wasted because Kamara does come back this week. So we will see how that plays out with him coming back. But it's just crazy how when Drew Brees was putting up all those historic numbers, 5,000 yards, the defense was so bad.
32nd in the league.
Right, yeah. And then when he leaves and he's out the league, and then they need a quarterback, the defense is excellent. It's insane how football works, bro. It's so crazy. But yeah, that defense is great. Like I completely agree. They don't get talked about enough. Marshawn Lattimore does not get talked about enough. He's one of the best, corners in the world. Cam Jordan, like you said, great player. Demario Davis, one of the best linebackers in the league. Dennis Allen, he's a defensive-minded guy, so you would hope that would at least be your calling card every single Sunday. You would hope those guys would be able to get stops and stop the offense. And Carr just he got hurt, so hopefully he can try to stay. All he has to do is just hand that ball off to 41, whether it's handoffs,
Screens.
Quick passes, whatever it is, man. Try to get the football to him because you don't want to have the same thing you had last year. I mean, I know Jameis is there, you got Taysom Hill, but it's just like that division is there for them.
I haven't said it in a long time, CJ, but Jameis Jensen. I
mean, he might. I mean, listen, I don't know this. We don't know the severity of Derek Carr's AC joint injury.
Yeah.
He's saying it's pain management, so he's going to be able to play. But you keep getting hit, it's going to get worse. Like it's not getting any better.
That whole pain starts to really get involved.
Exactly. So it's going to be tough to manage pain when you got guys falling on top of you. So we'll see what happens with that because that division is there for the taking for sure. Atlanta and Carolina are not competitive, so it's going to be between you and Tampa Bay. And I feel like they can win. I feel like New Orleans should win the division, even if it's like on some like 7-10 type deal, like how we saw with the Commanders a couple years ago. But yeah, Packers, they're gritty, bro. They're gritty, and they get Christian Watson back next on tomorrow. So that that'd be great.
Like he's about to come back too.
So I mean, Matt LaFleur showing why he's a hell of a coach. He's able to get this team to win the division, get this team to the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers, with not a rookie, but a first-year starter at quarterback. Says a lot about him and how good of a head coach that he is. And this defense is pretty good too. I mean, I know they don't get talked about a lot either. I mean, they got some guys, Devondre Campbell, Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark. Like they got some dogs. They got some dogs on that side of football as well. So this is a great win for Green Bay at home. Obviously, Lambeau Field, great comeback win. And then we'll see what they do tomorrow against Detroit. It's going to be a big game.
Yes, sir. We move on. Texans and the Jags. You're not going to lie here, CJ. Not what I was expecting out of this one. Was not expecting a damn near 40 piece out of the Texans, but hey, the NFL is full of surprises every single week. Obviously, listen, CJ Stroud looked very good in this one. I believe he was 20 of 30 on the day, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he did his thing through the air. I mean, they might have found something here with this good old Tank Dell. 5 catches, $145 he had, and a touchdown. So they might have found something there. I believe that's back-to-back good weeks for him. And listen, news flash here. No, it's going to be very surprising. Nobody's ever said this. But you protect the quarterback, good things happen. And the Texans did a very good job of keeping CJ Stroud upright in this game. So, this is the potential of what can happen. Obviously, I would like to see them get the running game involved a bit more. It has struggled so far. Mainly, I want them to do that because I have Dameon Pierce in fantasy, and I thought that he was going to have a very good season, so I picked him. It hasn't been that great so far. Did score a touchdown in this game, though. Also, shout out the fullback. Got a
big
return. I mean, I don't consider it a big guy touchdown. No.
Okay,
you know what I mean? I don't consider it a big guy touchdown. There's nothing like a nice Vince Wilfork interception that we saw back in the day, or a
Tim Conte on the
Tim Conte. So listen, as a larger gentleman myself. I like when they succeed in life, but obviously, that kick return, it kind of looked like it was going to be bad for them. And they said it on the broadcast, which, if you really pay attention, is really true. When things like that happen, everything just weirdly seems so out of whack because you have lanes, obviously, on those kickoffs or punt returns. Like, okay, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Once the ball's on the ground, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to veer off this way. I'm going to veer off this way. And that's kind of what happened. But he got it, took it to the sideline, and ended up scoring on that, which was definitely I think that was the stake in the heart, because the Jags had started a little bit of a comeback up to that point. They didn't score any points in the first half. Which, a little side note here, Doug Peterson took play calling back over at halftime. I didn't even know that he wasn't on play calling so far this season, but I heard some things came out while I was watching some stuff that he took over play calling at halftime. So maybe that offense is going to look a little bit better moving forward, because I think they had only scored one touchdown so far this season. It was in that game. I think it was the first week of the season was the only game that they had scored a touchdown in up until now. So obviously the offense wasn't doing his thing. I'd like to see Calvin Ridley involved more. You saw what he did in week one. Thought he was going to be an enormous part of the offense. Has definitely cooled down the last 2 weeks. That's also selfishly a fantasy reason as well. But hey, you got to get your best players involved as well. But yeah, CJ Stroud looked very good in this game. And believe it or not, I think I saw it as well that the Texans had won like 6 of the last 7 matchups with the Jags too.
Yeah, they own the Jags. Yes, it's crazy.
There are some things in the NFL that make no sense to me. That would be one of them. I think. What Jags is it?
On the Colts.
Burrow's like 1-7 against the Ravens.
Yeah, something like that.
And he sucks against the Browns too, which is not a very good thing to lose that often to teams in your division, by the way. I mean, the Patriots, we'll get to that, have won 15 in a row against the Jets. Like, there are certain things in the NFL that, like, now listen, I understand the Jets. No, but I understand the Jets haven't been very good.
Yeah.
But in the Patriots over the last couple of years, haven't exactly been pretty. And I mean, you can't even sneak one out over the last 2016, the last time the Jets beat the Patriots. Oh, listen, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but still, good win for the Texans here, and some things to look at and be happy about if you're a good old Texans fan.
Like you said, when you protect the quarterback, good things happen. And
shocker, CJ.
Watching the preseason game, Patriots Texans, right? The first preseason game of the season. I just wanted to see, what he looked like, what Stroud looked like. Obviously, his first time getting at least some NFL action. Obviously, the games don't count, but he looked solid. But it was just, again, he couldn't even. As soon as he dropped back, it was like Keon White and all those guys are just, on him. So this was a really good game. This was a great game. This is the first win for DeMeco Ryans as a head coach. This is the first win for CJ Stroud in the NFL. So you got that rookie head coach, rookie quarterback connection. I know it's defensive head coach and a young quarterback, but I think this team. You got Laramie Tunsil on the left side. You gave him an extension, so you got him there to protect Stroud's blind side for the next few seasons. They still have a bunch of picks that they got from the Browns left. They got 2 top 5 picks. Will Anderson and obviously CJ Stroud with the number 2 pick in last year's draft. They're really positioning themselves to be a really, really good team in the next couple of years. And again, having a defensive-minded guy at head coach in a division with a plethora of really good quarterbacks. I mean, in a conference with a plethora of really good quarterbacks is not the worst thing in the world. It's definitely not. I mean, because shootouts are cool, but you want to get stops as well. So if you feel like you have a quarterback back there where, yes, you have a guy, a head coach is calling plays to get stops, but if that head coach is comfortable with that guy in the center to, like, okay, let's still be aggressive and scoring the football, that's a perfect marriage. And we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. But yeah, he looks so comfortable in the pocket. There was some times with some pressure up front and a couple, the A and B gaps, and you still throwing dimes. Tank Dell, yeah, it looks like he could be a guy. I mean, most receiving yards in a game for a rookie. I mean, that's That's who have receivers like Andre Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins that have put on that uniform. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And he's a rookie. So you got a rookie quarterback, and you got a rookie wide receiver that's someone that he could potentially lean on in the future. And definitely during in this season. This was a great win. I definitely didn't see this coming. I thought Jacksonville at home would get it done. But hey, if I don't know what this season is going to be like, but they're the way they're positioning themselves. They still got to get that O-line together. With having a young quarterback, as we know, I'd put all the money in the trenches. All the money in the trenches on both sides. All the money in the trenches, man. And make sure that he's protected, because if he is protected, his feet are right, he could throw dots, because that 65-yard pass he threw to Doze, that was a dime, and put it right over like three Jaguar defenders. A lot of people question, Ohio State quarterbacks. We're seeing one in Chicago. It's not really working out. So there's kind of that stigma of Ohio State quarterbacks, but just the way he played. Even against Georgia in that playoff game, and they lost. He played well. He was running around making big plays, throwing dimes to Marvin Harrison Jr. So now he's in NFL. He looks ready to go, and I think he's going to be a really good player in this league, bro. I really do. And again, as I said when I was talking about the Titans, that division, man, they just continue to just keep on checking boxes. They're going to be dominant. They're going to be dominant in that AFC South. I don't know, obviously not this year, but in a year or two, they're going to be right there. I truly believe that if they just keep doing the right things and building around it. So big win, and then that's a big point that you said about Doug Peterson taking over for calling plays, because that's his calling card, and that's his calling card. And I know being a head coach, you kind of have to manage everything, but it's like Andy Reid. It's like Andy Reid's a head coach, but we know he's calling the plays. Like, he's not just going to let somebody else call the plays for him. And I think that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal, and they need to get it together for sure, because you can't let a division slip. You can't let these games slip away. So for him to kind of acknowledge that now in week 3 as opposed to like week 10 is a big deal. It's a big deal. So I want to see what the Jaguars do here from here on out offensively, because they hurt themselves. I mean, they had the fumble. And then Lawrence threw a pick. It was a great interception by the linebacker. Knew the crossing route was coming, and he made a great play. That's a great play. A lot of linebackers can't make that play. That was a great play. And then, like you said, the kick return by the fullback. So it was just those things really hurt them as they were trying to come back. So interested to see what happens in their second meeting against the Texans. But great win for Houston. And I think the Jaguars, they're still right there in terms of being competitive in the division and in the conference.
Well, CJ, you mentioned competitive word.
Sheesh.
And let me tell you something. The Broncos and the Dolphins was not exactly what one would say is competitive. 20-70. Let me listen. I know, I maybe I mumble sometimes. Maybe I don't speak clearly enough sometimes. I'll say it again in case you 70. 7-0 the Dolphins put up in the NFL. No, this was not Georgia versus some community college or
TCU.
This wasn't Georgia versus the Fashion Institute or something like that. No. An NFL team lost by 50 points. I mean, listen, CJ, by the way, and I'm going to make this selfish again. Well, not selfish, but fan selfish. We didn't even let the Dolphins score 30. They didn't even score 30 on us.
Yeah, that's kind of like, that's my thing. That's kind of like my love-hate with Bill, bro. Because it's like, yeah, it's like, what the hell are you doing with the offense? But he does know how to coach that side of the football, bro, on defense. And
Christian Gonzalez is a dog.
Yeah, he kind of had that umbrella coverage on Hill and those fast guys. That's the love-hate relationship.
I don't think a tarp could have covered the Dolphins.
Not in this game.
Whatever the Broncos did was wrong. Every single thing they did was wrong. Getting off the plane was wrong. Getting on the plane was wrong. I mean, you should have just unfortunately, you should have forfeited at halftime. In all honesty, been like, listen, we can't take the field. We had a tragic situation. We all tied our shoelaces together. Can't get them undone. We don't know how it happened, but it's just a bad situation for us. I mean, 70 points. I mean, and at 35 at halftime, could have tied the record for. Actually, no, it would have been the most points in the regular season. I guess it would have been like the most. It would have been tied for the most points ever put on the game because I guess the Bears back in like the 40s put up 73 against some team in a championship game. But yeah, CJ, Mostert and I believe it's
A-Chain.
A-Chain?
A-Chain, yeah. Rookie.
Because I know that after the game he said that like his name was pronounced a certain way and it wasn't the way that some people were. I don't know. But listen, I can't say that I'm once again very smart. Combined for 8 touchdowns. The running backs. 8 touchdowns in the game. I mean, I don't even understand how that happens. It was one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen in my entire life watching this game. Because at a certain point, like the game's over, but it's also like it's like a car accident, for lack of a better term. Like that whole rubbernecking thing where you're just like you keep looking. I just couldn't look away. 14 in the first, 21 in the second. Then they peeled back and scored 14 in the third quarter, and then they finished it off with another 21 piece in the fourth. I mean, unbelievable. Tua didn't have an incompletion until halfway through the third quarter. They put up 726 yards of offense. 350 on the ground, 376 through the air. They averaged, CJ, they averaged 10 yards a play. They were averaging a first down a play. Like, that is unbelievable. Literally unbelievable. I mean, Tua was 23 of 26, 309, 4 touchdowns. A-Chain had 203 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. I believe he also had 2 through the air with kind of,
shovel passes, right?
Whip passes, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Mostert had 82 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Tyreek Hill, another casual 157. And then, I don't even know what you really say. If you're a Bronco fan, you're just crying yourself to sleep. And then, I kind of see, this is where I'm weird. I kind of don't mind what Sean Payton did, calling out how bad the coaching was last season. Because, listen, it was terrible. The Broncos were terrible. But then the other part of me, it just loves the payback. Because now, I mean, you just got embarrassed on television. You lost by 50, by the way, 5-0. That's how much they lost by. And then after the game, the reporter's talking about it's a historic loss or whatever, and he's getting all pissy.
Next question. Yeah.
What's the question? That
was tense. Yeah, he was sick.
Why don't you listen? You got to take the comeuppance, as some people would say. But I mean, just simply amazing. The Dolphins, best offense in the league right now by far. I mean, if you look at, CJ, they're I feel like it gets thrown around a lot sometimes whenever you see somebody who's fast, but this is literally a track team. They have the 6 fastest plays of the season, and I think 4 of them were this week. Tyreek Hill on his touchdown, A-Chain on his touchdown, Mostert on his, and they're all running like 20, 21, 21.8 miles per hour. I mean, what are we talking about? And I say this all the time, CJ, there's a lot of things you can teach. Like, you can get stronger, lift some more weights, right? You can get smarter, believe it or not, contrary to popular belief. And I, probably don't help that belief. But you can, study the playbook a little bit more, go over your notes a little bit more. You can get smarter out here. You'll never be able to teach speed. And there is one thing that the Dolphins have and it is speed. Mostert's fast as hell. CJ, they did it without Jalen Waddle. Waddle didn't even play in the game, and they put up 70. You had Robbie Chosen, not Anderson, Chosen, having catches by the end of the game. I mean, what unit of the Broncos do you guys find more? I mean, listen, after a game like this, you say the defense. I mean, Russell Wilson is not playing that bad. Like, he really isn't.
Yeah, but 6 points in the second half. I mean, I know, again, it's the defense, but 6 points in the second half is still kind of crazy.
I mean, this man, it is crazy. But also, I mean, you look at Surtain gave up like 120 yards or something in this game. I mean, that's supposed to be your number one lockdown guy.
Yeah, Sutton had 2 fumbles. Those fumbles, the first
one. You know what you and I find most alarming, Gridiron? The team.
It's the whole team. This was just a good old fashioned beatdown, bro. Like, I just got to give a lot of credit to Mike McDaniel, because you know all the stories that happened with Flores and the Brady stuff and all the stuff in Miami, and I was like, here we go again. Like, I didn't know what direction this team was going in. Tua couldn't stay healthy, but man, they brought in Mike McDaniel, and he's just done a phenomenal job. Even last year, getting into the playoffs, and then now, second year, Tua. This is Tua's second year in the offense. He's obviously comfortable in this offense. I think a lot of people. I think he got unnecessary criticism. Tua Tagovailoa. I feel like he got unnecessary criticism, because he was hurt, and they said he's doing jiu-jitsu now to
learn
how to fall. Yeah, it's key. It's key. I mean, you got to be cognizant of what you're doing and being aware when those guys come at you. You want to make sure when you're getting hit, you're staying in the field. The team, the franchise, they need you. You're very important. So that's good. That's to me, that's elite awareness on his part for him doing that in the offseason. And what's Mike McDaniel's calling card? Running the football. I mean, he was the run game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers over those last few years.
And San Francisco had a better run game than them.
Yeah, exactly. And when Raheem Mostert went off in San Fran in that game against the Packers, who was the guy creating the schemes and creating the X's and O's, Mike McDaniel. So when they brought him in there,
I mean, most of the problem has been health too.
That's it. That's what it's been. Yeah, that's what it's been. Really, it's just been health. And yeah, he's extremely fast. When he gets an angle, he gets ahead of steam. You're not catching him. You're not catching him, man. And, he's elite. The rookie that I believe they got him in the third round, Devon Achane. He's coming along strong as well. They're doing shovel passes like Kansas City. They used to do the shovel passes to Kelsey.
Shovel pass too.
It's they're very confident. They're confident in what they're doing. They're confident in the offense. Everybody knows what to do out there. The offensive line is held up. I've seen articles of offensive line that they're making it their mission, even though this should be your job because you get paid to do this, but they're making it their mission to protect Tua, keep him upright every single play, and then that just speaks to the relationship he has with those guys up front, and how they feel about him. And I think they're on their way. They're the best team in the AFC. We kind of talked about this a little bit last week, but for them to do what they did, 70 points is just unheard of. I haven't seen. I think the Patriots put up like 50 something.
Yeah, 52 a couple years ago against the Jets.
Yeah, exactly, 54, 52, something like that. But yeah, 70 is insane. It was like 70 with like 8-9 minutes left. So if they really wanted to, put it on Denver, they really could have went for like 80, 84. Oh. You know what I mean? So
this was Madden against your little bro.
Exactly. And just Tyreek Hill, it's perfect. I mean, they have fast guys, but also got a lot of underdogs on that team, bro. Because what do people say? Tyreek Hill, a lot of people said Tyreek Hill is Mahomes made, right? He can't do anything without Mahomes, even though last year he had 1,700 yards and easily could have went for 2K if Tua was healthy. This year he's on pace for 2K, like he said he was going out to do. He's so good, bro. He's so good, and man, you just got to be able to. You have to be able to tackle. If you're not, you have to be able to tackle. It's like it's the easiest thing to say because it's football and it's like a part of the side of the football. That's their job. But this team, like you have to
And you better make sure your angles are good.
No, yeah, I mean that's a part of it. Yeah, that's a part of it. Like it's everything. It's all of that because just the smallest angle, the smallest missed tackle, and these guys are gone, bro. And Tua's like Purdy. I mean, he's like Purdy. I think he has a stronger arm than Brock. And again, people call them noodle arm this, and when they showed the clips in the all season, the passes being underthrown, and like I said, he was getting ripped, and it was just so crazy to me, and I had to see it too. He struggled for sure, but I think now he's much more comfortable in this offense, and I like the way Chris Greer, coming from New England, he stuck with Tua throughout this whole time. It easily could have been times where they could have went back in the draft. They could have traded, they could have done a multitude of things with him being out, with him being hurt. And they stayed the course. And they built this team around him the right way. Look at that team in Alabama with the guys that he had. He had a bunch of fast guys. Smith, Waddle, Ruggs, Judy. All those guys are speedsters, right? And that's what they put around him in Alabama, and they're doing the same thing here and in Miami. But the key thing, I think, everybody's caught up on the fast and the speed, but they run the football. And with that, you control the clock. And with Tua's ability to not make mistakes, and with their ability to run the football and control the clock and time of possession, they're going to be dangerous. And with that style, it could carry over too inclement weather. Because a lot of people are questioning, can this style, when they're putting up points, can they do this in late December, January, February, if they're playing a certain team where it's cold? With their identity, which is running the football, because that's McDaniel's calling card. I truly believe they can do that because they went into Buffalo and put up 30. They just didn't have their guy in the center to make enough plays for them. So excellent win. Damn near, it's a perfect game. I mean, pretty much a perfect game for the Dolphins. And then for the Broncos, it's just 0-3. First two games should have been, like if you win those first two games, you get blasted like this. Like, yeah, you get blasted, but it doesn't look as bad. But you had the game against Commanders. You had the game against the Raiders. Both of those games were there for the taking, and you don't get it done. Your inability to close. And now you're 0-3, and everybody's laughing at you again for the second year in a row. Sean Payton's coming in there. They got to change some stuff up. Luckily, that division isn't as competitive as some people thought last year, especially not this year. It's still just Kansas City, even though I still don't trust the Chargers. And we're going to get into them next. But, it's just you just don't want to lose the team this early. Like, I know it's week 3 and you're 0-3, and it's like likely that all the stats and the numbers say this team 0-3, likely to make in the playoffs. We all know the numbers, and they try to throw stats at us during this time of the season, but you just don't want to lose the squad, bro. You don't want to lose the squad. When Garrett Bowles came out and said, I've been here for 7 years, and all
I've got is lose.
Yeah, it's just like, damn. That's like, if he's feeling like that, what is, player 52 or player 53 on the roster feels like, and there's other guys. So I just think for them, it's just making sure you get this win next week, whoever they play, whoever it is.
I think it's the Bears.
Got to get that win.
Bowl game.
Have to get that win. You have to at least get some type of confidence, get something rolling, some good film to look at. Because these first 3 weeks have not been great film for the Denver Broncos, man. And for Russell, lastly, wow, right? Wow. Because Brady left, won a chip. Stafford left, won a chip. Russell left, looking dirt. It's not looking good. It's not looking
How good does Pete Carroll feel right now?
Pete Carroll looks great. He looks great right now. And man, this could really, like, this second stage of his career could really decide whether he gets in the Hall. Bro. I mean, this is it.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
This is the window to decide whether he gets in the Hall of Fame. I know he has some crazy numbers already, but people are going to think about post-Seattle years, and if he's not able to at least make this team competitive, and he's not playing bad, like you said, history will not do him well for sure. So they have a lot of things to take care of and clean up if they want to at least try to salvage their season.
Absolutely. Salvaging the season is kind of maybe you never know. What the Chargers did this week against the Vikings. The Vikings, it was a battle of 0-2 teams, and the Chargers squeaked this one out. Listen, I'm usually not. Well, actually, I am. I'm not maybe the greatest person in the world. I was kind of preying on the downfall of Brandon Staley, so I kind of wanted the Vikings to win this game, so he's one step closer to getting fired. But they somehow win this game, even with him going forward on 4th and 1 at his own 25-yard line again. Simply just don't understand the call. I think they had an 82% chance to win if they punted, and an 89% chance to win if they made it. After the game, we had no timeouts left. If we get that, we automatically win the game. Yada yada yada. I guess whatever helps you sleep at night. Listen, the Chargers have been playing good football. I mean, on the offensive side of things, obviously that defense doesn't know how to stop a nosebleed, which you would think Brandon Staley, defensive coordinator for the Rams, or no, it wasn't the Rams. Who was it? Who's the defensive coordinator for?
You talking about Staley?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Rams. He was the Rams.
It was the Rams. Oh, I was right.
For the Chargers, yeah.
Don't doubt yourself, kid. But you would think he'd be able to figure out the defensive side of the ball. J.C. Jackson was a healthy scratch. You later find out that he kind of missed a court date back in New England for a little charge that he had on something. So that could have led into why he was a healthy scratch. But yeah, I mean, listen, a good win by the Chargers. And also, I mean, Kirk Cousins just really never helps himself. This man, CJ, here's the thing. They're at about what were they at the 5 or 10-yard line or something like that at the end of that game? They're running up to the line, and it comes out after the game that he couldn't hear what the play call was, so he kind of called it himself, which was sort of the same play call anyway. And then he was kind of, how long have you been in the league? You're still being flustered. You're the quarterback. You're the head coach out there. Basically, you're a veteran quarterback in charge of the offense. You ever heard of I don't know, spiking it? Spike the ball. You make it. You still have 3 chances to score a touchdown, which you probably only would have had that many chances anyway with where the clock is. And then you go from there. Wouldn't you rather spike it and have 3 timed, definite plays instead of 1 where you don't even know what's actually supposed to happen? Right. So him not spiking the ball is just unbelievable to me. The Vikings start out 0-3. I mean, listen, luckily for them, I mean, we've gone over this several times. The NFC doesn't exactly look like the most tough conference in the world. So they still have a chance to, come back, make the playoffs. Because I would expect, listen, I'm expecting 8-9 wins to be able to get you into the playoffs in the NFC. So obviously they still have a chance.
Yeah, for a couple of those teams, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what an interesting ending. And gosh, does Staley have a horseshoe shoved up somewhere, because the fact that he was even let back on the plane after the Jacksonville game is astonishing. And then he pulls this again, and they somehow win. Because then again, even if they lost that game because he made a decision, they probably still would have kept him.
No, yeah, I don't think you fire a guy after 3 weeks. It's rare that you see that. It's rare that you see, obviously the last one was what, Urban Meyer. I mean, because you just had to get rid of him, right? And a lot of that wasn't even really on the field. It was just a lot of off the field stuff. But it's rare you see a team fire their head coach within a month into the season. But yeah, they needed this win. And the Chargers, the Vikings, they turned the ball over way too much. I mean, they have the most turnovers in the NFL. 7 of them are fumbles lost. 7 fumbles lost in 3 weeks is insane to me. And O'Connell came out and said, listen, if these guys aren't protecting the football, they're not going to play. That kind of should have been the mindset week 1. But hey, three
Then again,
losses.
I don't think he's going to bench Justin Jefferson if he fumbles out of the end zone again.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do that. But some of those other guys, for sure, to at least make a statement for everyone else. But they're just a team, and they just kind of just get in their own way. Chargers do. They're like twins.
Oh, yeah.
They're just a different conference. They're like twins, bro.
That's why this game was almost impossible to pick because it's the two teams that should win games a lot and that somehow always find a way to mess it up. You just had to look in the glass ball, the crystal ball, and say, they're both going to screw up, but which one screws up more?
Exactly. That's really what it was, and lo and behold, it was the Vikings, barely. And they just keep getting in their own way, and if this gets to like 0-5, might have to move that guy, bro. Might have to move because it's not even necessarily to say like he's the sole reason why. Because I just talked about he has 2 interceptions, and then the rest he has 7 fumbles lost. Those are the 9 turnovers right now. Yeah. So it's not even just like all him, but it's just I don't know. He puts up good stats, but he's just not that guy. They might have to move off him, bro. They might have to move off. I personally feel like they should because you got a couple quarterbacks in this draft class coming up that I think going to be really good. And if I'm not. It's not tanking, but it's just being smart with it, bro. Like I guess you could call it that, but you're not getting anywhere with Kirk Cousins. That's really the point there. But Chargers, Staley, he's keeping his job for now. It's Keenan Allen, bro. Only wide receiver in NFL history with 15 multiple games with 15 catches.
Oh, I did not know that.
Wow. I think he had like 15 for like $160 or something, $170 or something like that,
and a touchdown pass.
And a touchdown pass too. I mean, he's another one, just like how I said with Amari Cooper, bro. It just doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, because he's not flashy. He doesn't do it gritty after.
And not even that. Like he's not. He's like not the fastest. He doesn't jump the highest. He just does everything very well. Yeah, he just runs excellent. Some of the crispiest routes you'll ever see. Has great hands, and it's incredible. Like nothing that anybody actually cares about.
You're right. Yeah, he's incredible. He's incredible, bro. He tore his ACL, and then speaking of ACLs, unfortunately, Mike Williams out for the season. Man, tough, bro. He had a great couple seasons, last 2 seasons, and he had some injuries before that, and now he's out for the year. So prayers up to him for sure. Gets back. Good thing he got his money though. He got his money, yes, so he's compensated. So but yeah, man, it's just bro. The Keenan Allen is just so good. He's just so good at the game of football, bro. I remember watching him at Cal too when he came out. Just watching Harris highlights and Just Bomb production highlights and watching him, bro. Like he was going crazy. And I was like, this guy's going to be really good. And here we are a decade later. He's still going off. So yeah, good win for the Chargers. They needed this one badly. Bro. So good win for them, and for the Vikings is just. I'm pretty sure their mantra is let's just get one. I mean, I'm pretty sure all the teams that are that don't have a win is just let's just get one. But for them, I feel like it's let's get one because you don't want to get a disgruntled and not paid star wide receiver in Jefferson. You might start asking, you might start saying, yeah, I want out of here, bro. We've already seen history repeat itself in Minnesota with their wide receivers leaving, a la Randy Moss. So it's not the first time the star wide receiver there has asked to leave, but they got to figure it out.
What never needs to be figured out for my for my liking is a way for the Jets to beat the Patriots. 15 straight. 15. Patriots have defeated the Jets again, 15-10. Look at that. They even scored the perfect amount. Yes, 15 straight victories against the Jets. Haven't won a game since 2016 against them. I remember that game too. Ryan Fitzpatrick, a little overtime touchdown try. I believe it was Eric Decker. Gosh, that annoyed me. And that was after the Patriots decided to – what's it called? Oh, that was an overtime game. Patriots decided to kick off instead of – they won the toss. didn't receive, which made absolutely no sense. Anyway, that's a different problem for a different day, a 2016 day. But listen, is the offense anything good? No. Will it ever be? Probably not. Ezekiel Elliott looked good in this game, which is not something I really had on the bingo card. I wasn't exactly happy, wasn't exactly annoyed with the Ezekiel Elliott signing. It was just kind of like, whatever. But hey, he looked good in this game, looked better than Ramondre Stevenson. I still think that he's obviously going to be, the more important of the two running backs throughout the season. But we will see how it is moving forward. You know how Bill falls in and out of love with people very, very, very quickly. Just ask Jonas Gray. But I mean, if you're a Jet fan or player on the Jets, how do you deal with Zach Wilson anymore? I mean, listen, if you were watching the game, you saw the replay. You got people almost spitting out their own teeth.
That was hilarious, bro. That was hilarious.
I mean, you got Fireman Ed, Jet superfan, having to take an hour after the game to cool down before he could even make his video on the Jets.
I don't know.
You got Joe Namath on the Michael K show calling it disgusting and saying that if anybody on that team is happy, they need to be removed from the locker room immediately. I mean, listen, those are some strong words. Strong words. And the weirdest thing is, CJ, usually things are an overreaction. It's all true to me.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is just so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know he's especially bad against the Patriots, and that's kind of Bill's calling card against those young quarterbacks. That it's just very hard. But I mean, Jesus, this man was getting sacked by ghosts. It was like Sam Darnold. But you want to talk about just terrible, such a high to such a low. Had to be that week one for the Jet fans. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers coming out, and then the Achilles gone, and basically your season. Listen, they went out and signed Trevor Siemian. He hasn't won a game since 2017.
Yeah, Trevor Siemian is not. He's not good at football.
But you know what the craziest part is? He still might be better than Zach Wilson in football.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's not saying much, but yeah, it can't get any worse.
No, it's not saying anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pathetic, is what it is. But I mean, CJ, here's the other thing too: is there maybe any team in the league that's hoping that the Vikings are terrible more than the Jets? I mean, it's already been like rumored and talked about that they should do it. If you're the Jets, don't you have to pray that the Vikings are 0-5, 0-6, and they're just like, listen, we got to break this thing down. Here, somebody take Kirk.
So, if I was running the Jets, I would let the season play out and get a quarterback in the draft again. I'd much rather have a young quarterback, find one of those guys, whether it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, any one of those dudes. Gridiron Jets O-line, which has already been bad now, is Dwayne Brown. He was already up there in age and kind of on the downside. So it's just worse news for this Jets team. But yeah, if I was Joe Douglas, I would try to find some band-aids here and there, and I get it for those guys playing, right? They want to win. Everything is not given to them when it comes to financially. They want to go out there and do something historic. You got to at least find somebody there. Kirk Cousins, I just don't see the Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins is just like, okay, you're gonna what are you trading for Kirk? You're gonna give the Vikings draft compensation for mediocrity? Like, you might as well just find your guy in the draft next year, bro. Because what is Kurt really gonna do? Like, what is he? Is he really changing this team? Is he gonna make them better? I mean, is he better than Zach Wilson? Is he? Yeah, is he better than Zach Wilson? Yeah, but he's not winning you a Super Bowl. So he's not winning you a Super Bowl. He's not winning you a Super Bowl. So it's just like he's not good enough, and I get it. Like they're really Jet fans are really just trying to find anything right now, and they're still paying Aaron Rodgers like a boatload of money. So how does that money even work? Bringing in Kirk Cousins, who's making a lot of money guaranteed, and then you got Aaron Rodgers, who's still on your team, just not active. I don't know. I don't see that working out. I think they're just going to play this. Honestly, Joe Douglas and those guys, they're going to let the season play out. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers is healthy next year, but if not, depending on what their record looks like, I think they're going to draft a quarterback. That's you need to draft a quarterback. Have him sit, do the Packers route. Like it's working for Green Bay, right? Yeah, they're not. No, they're not good at drafting QBs. You're right. Darnold and Zach Wilson, as we've seen the first
Mark
Sanchez. Mark Sanchez, didn't pay him good early. Geno Smith, just he had to go to a second home for it to figure it out. Yeah, it took some time. Yeah, you're right. They're not great at drafting quarterbacks, but it's not like the market is great either.
So, especially this year, right?
Yeah,
with all the expectations and everything, I feel like you can't throw away another season. Because if you stay with Zach Wilson or Trevor Siemian or one of these random bums off the street, like you're throwing away another season. And I mean, listen, we see it in the NFL all the time. Things change very rapidly. Like, yeah, their defense is very good. And they have some young players on the defense, which means it should be very good for a long time. Yeah. But, I mean, listen, this is all going to be, fantasy land sort of, because, anybody can get injured at any time. But, like, what if that Jet defense goes on, top 5 defense, to play this season, whatever, they're giving up 14 points a game, 15, 16 points a game. Sauce has another amazing year. Quinn Williams and all you needed was a quarterback, and you had the opportunity, but it was like, we just didn't feel like doing it. Like, it's almost a way of like you kind of owe Jet fans. And I mean, once again, they tried. They did it. They had Aaron Rodgers.
Right, yeah,
but
they tried.
You're still throwing away another season if you don't try and go get somebody. Because how do you know? And like, this is where I'm saying it's kind of fantasy land. And obviously, you can't predict the future, but how do you know next year, God willing, somebody on the defensive side doesn't get hurt and that just ruins the defense there? Like, there's just always so much constant change and constant this and that in the NFL that, like, can you really afford to just be like, we'll try it again next year? Because you don't know what happens next year.
Yeah. No, for sure. Anything can happen. That's what I was saying. Like, yeah, I get that. I'm not saying like, just mail it in and be like,
no, absolutely,
go back and win next year.
But
that's why I say go get a quarterback. That's why I say go get a quarterback, because even if Aaron Rodgers does come back, he's 40, coming off an Achilles injury, and he's known for being mobile. It's like, bro, like that's not a great formula. So you got to find somebody. You got to find his the next guy up. You have to, and they were kind of trying to do that, right? They were like, Zach Wilson was really never supposed to play in a perfect world, but we know in football
that's also their fault. That's also their fault too. How did you go into the season with Zach Wilson as your backup quarterback?
Well, like, I mean, again, they assume that, obviously, they assume Rodgers will stay healthy and, Zach could be there and learn. And like I said, perfect world, he'll learn from Rodgers and, maybe somehow he'll figure it out, but then he gets thrown into the fire.
Absolutely. But I mean, Rodgers has been hurt before and he's also up there in age. So you kind of somehow expect maybe like, okay, maybe he'll break down at one point in the year. Maybe he'll have to miss a second half of a game. I feel like they should have brought somebody in, not being Zach Wilson, make Zach Wilson. Listen, Drew Brady, he was a third string at one point.
Yeah, he definitely could have been third string for sure, no doubt. And then
Zach Wilson as your third stringer, and then you really protected him because fans never wanted to see him anyway.
Nah, after last year, it was no. There was
and then
no
you have the reports coming out too that Saleh being a Wilson apologist is already pissing the defense off. Like,
but he's
a mutiny in your locker room, and then you really lost the season.
Nah, he you gotta also understand, like he's just saying he has to say that, right? He's not gonna sit there and just blast Zach
Well,
Wilson.
no. I understand that. I understand that he
Yeah.
has to, but that's reports from the locker room. Like
No,
that's
I know. Yeah, I believe those reports. Yeah, I believe those reports.
like
They're upset.
that the defense is mad that he's a Zach Wilson apologist. So does that mean he's doing it in the locker room too, where it's like, guys, come on, Zach's our dude. I mean, then again, you also can't go into the locker room and say, hey guys, Zach Wilson sucks, but suck it up. We have to do this.
But everybody knows what time it is. You know, Zach. And here's one thing too. Like people bringing up Cap, and I know he sent the letter out. Like let's stop talking about Colin Kaepernick in the NFL.
Bro, I mean, I'm good.
Like, because like, bro, you sued the NFL. Like name me a time where you sue your employer, and then the 4 years, like 6 years later, you're trying to get the job from said job that you just sued. Doesn't happen.
I mean, I know Brian Flores had the thing where he sued the NFL, but like it never really went.
But for him, but it wasn't as big as what.
Oh no, exactly. That's what I'm saying too, and it also didn't really get anywhere.
Yeah, you know, Kaepernick, he's a clout chaser, bro. He's a clout chaser. Anytime there's a quarterback that they need, any team that need a quarterback, he's going to try to attach his name to it to keep his name out there. He's a clout chaser. He's never going to play in the NFL. He knows he's never going to play in the NFL again. Because, like I said, you don't sue the league. You don't sue the league that you work for, and then 6 years later be like, "Hey, can I get a job again?" No, you're gonna get turned down. You know that. Like you got to have some type of brain and common sense to know that. So to me, you know, every time his name comes about, it's just about clout. He's a clout chaser, bro. He's a big clout chaser. So that's all I got to say with that. But you got other quarterbacks. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's rough. But I really want to talk about the Patriots because I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed at all. Defensively, very impressed. Very impressed. From what I've seen these first couple of weeks, the way they've played, Christian Gonzalez looking like defensive rookie of the year right now. He's really playing well. He's really playing well. The numbers he's put up against the top receivers, Hill, Garrett Wilson, and AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith as well in that first game against the Eagles. He's been great. He's been great. The defense has been really good, man. They haven't really given up a lot of big plays, but the offense is laughable. The offense is laughable. They don't have one. It's just we say the same thing every year, but it's just like a broken record. Like they don't have one receiver that could create separation. Not one. I didn't understand the Devontae Parker extension. Like he didn't do anything for me to see why he should have got extended. I don't know what Bill was thinking there. He's kind of just a possession guy that's good at back shoulder fades. That's it. That's all he's good at. Maybe a fade here and there in the red zone, but we can't even get to the red zone to see him catch a fade. So it's like it's just sad. It's just sad. The offense is sad. Mac he just throws deep passes and hopes for like a pass interference. Like he doesn't even throw deep balls with any type of purpose. Maybe he just throws it because he knows. I mean, he's also like those guys aren't getting open, so he's just throwing it because those guys get any type of separation. So he's just throwing it.
The lowest team I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's the opposite of the Dolphins.
Night and day. The offense is just. I think Bill's mindset is Mac, just don't turn the ball over. And the way I'm gonna call this defense, we're gonna have a chance to win every single Sunday. He has that 2001, early 2000s mindset, like early Brady, where Brady was just kind of just super game manager before he really opened up and developed as a guy. That's his mind. That's his mindset right now, and like it's from a defensive standpoint, and that's his calling card. I get that, but you got to be able to score points. Like this game shouldn't even have been close. Like for this game to be that close, Jets went down, scored a touchdown. They had like their only good drive of the game with like 9 minutes left, and it was like 5 minutes left. We couldn't even get a first down. Like the offense is laughable. The offense is laughable. We don't have a wide receiver. We don't have a wide receiver 1, 2, 3. I like Bourne, so maybe we got wide receiver 3. I like Kendrick Bourne, but outside of that, tight ends. You know, Henry's a nice possession guy, but he's slow. Gesicki is he's just there. He has okay speed, but he's not a guy that you're really leaning on to make big plays. Juju Smith-Schuster, again, it's just like
I literally forgot he was on the team.
Like he barely plays. I want to see I want to see them. I know he fumbled, but I want to see Demario Douglas play a little bit more. I want to see Keyshawn Boutte play. I know he didn't, get the foot down against Philadelphia. Those are guys that we drafted. I want to see the Patriots use those players because who knows? Maybe they're I don't know, good, and and they could actually help this team because Parker and Smith, they're not it. They're not it, bro. Juju, they're not it. They're not it. I just don't see it, bro. The O-line was better. The O-line was better. Mac wasn't in a lot of trouble in the pocket. David Andrews, I think PFF graded him one of the top offensive linemen of the week. So he did a good job. Trent Brown as well, one of the top rated PFF guys for week 3. So he's done a solid job coming back to the fold. We need to figure out the guard situation. Cole Strange got hurt in this game. Michael Onahu's kind of been, inconsistent. So the guards are really what I'm focused on for New England's offensive line. Like I said, yeah, the defense has been good, and that's without having 3 to Jones in there, Jonathan, Jack, or Marcus, right? So those guys haven't been even really played consistently enough. Jack Jones hasn't played that at all. So I like the defense, but that's can only get you so far. The defense will only get you to 6 wins. So it's looking like 6-11 for the Patriots. They don't figure out this offense, bro. If they don't make a trade, something, bro, they have to make a move because you can't get by. They could barely get 20 points. How are you barely getting the 20 points in 2023? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, man. And it's still Mac, he's not all world, but it's still kind of hard to judge him because you look at these other young quarterbacks, they have elite talent around them. Like Jalen Hurts has 2 wide receiver one, he has 2 wide receiver ones. You know what I mean? Tua has, the best receiver in the world. And then Waddle, and then he got Waddle right there too.
And a very small offensive mind.
Right. Burrow has Chase and Higgins and Boyd. You know what I mean? So it's still tough to judge, man. I don't again, he's not all world, but it's still tough to judge him when there isn't any elite talent. He's trying to have Mac be like Brady, bro.
Yeah, turn this pumpkin into a
make these guys great, and I don't think that's the right formula for a young quarterback, man. You got to have some dogs out there on the outside that can make things easier for your younger quarterback, and he just doesn't get that part of it. He just doesn't get that side of the football right now, man. He just wants to play solid, turnover-free offense, and then my defense is just going to get stops. Paskins to be 3-0, but they probably deserve that. Yeah, not yet. Right, but the reason why is because they can't score. They just can't score. That's the reason why, bro. And until that changes, this is the type of season that Patriot fans are going to see from this team. It's going to just be up and down. It's going to be they might win 2 in a row, but it's not going to feel good because you go up against another team, they can score 12. So it's just tough watching this team, man. Defense is great, and the offense is a joke.
It certainly is. Speaking of a joke, the Bills versus the Commanders. Listen, I don't have much to say on this game because it was 37-3. Commanders couldn't do anything. They picked off Sam Howell 3 times. I believe there was a fumble in this game as well. Bills defense dominated. Josh Allen looked very good as well.
Yes.
Bills, Gabe Davis with a long touchdowns. Stephon Diggs does what he always does. And not much for me on this game. Just a dominant win for the Bills.
Yeah, great win for Buffalo. They're really bouncing back after that debacle on Monday night against the Jets. Gridiron said they should be 3-0. I mean, if Josh Allen doesn't, throw 3 passes to Isaiah Whitehead, they're a 3-0 team. But I like the way they've responded after that game. They've put up 38 last week, and then they put up 37 this week that just passed. So they've been Josh Allen's been playing extremely well, taking care of the football, running when he needs to run, not running excessively just to be Superman, running just to make the plays and move the chains. And when he plays like that, they're a dangerous team because he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So great win for Buffalo. And for the Commanders, yeah, I mean, they kind of caught some teams by surprise in the first couple of weeks, but they still don't have a quarterback. Sam Howell, could be a good story. Cool. We'll see what happens throughout the season, but I more than likely they will be looking for a quarterback in the draft.
I would agree with you there. The Panthers and the Seahawks, no Bryce Young in this game. Hey, listen, Andy Dalton did a good job. 27 points for the Panthers, but you still lose the game when the Seahawks score 37. So nothing too much in this game for me. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I just don't have much to say about it because I did not really put this one on. This is also not too much of a focus for me. Listen, Seahawks are doing their thing, though. 2-1. The offense is looking good again, which, they were one of the – I think they were – what were they, the highest scoring offense last season, I believe it was, which obviously probably was not on your bingo card going into the year.
No.
But, yeah, off to a 2-1 start. Obviously, you expect the 49ers to run that division, but Seahawks are definitely going to be a wild card team for me. And then, obviously, the Panthers are 0-3. You kind of expect it's out of them. They're building. I mean, you want to talk about a bad receiving core as well. Whew. Then again, Adam Thielen is there. Let me not.
Yeah, he's not what he used to be. But yeah.
Still a guy though. I'd take Adam Thielen.
New England, I'll take anybody, but
that's a good point.
This is my only thing for this game. Seahawks did exactly what they needed to do. Protect home field. And yeah, they're not just this like this team where nobody expects to win, bro. They're here. Like they're competitive. They're a good team, and they did a great job last week against Carolina. Obviously, Bryce Young has been hurt. He's already hurt. Week 3 into his rookie season. This is what they need to do. Bolster up that offensive line. Run the football. We're going to talk about this team next, this game next. And since they brought in that new head coach, I like the way they're positioning until when they get Kyler back. But they need to do the same thing in running the football and being a aggressive, hard-nosed, let's run the rock. And then, Bryce play action here and there. Get it to a couple guys because he doesn't have the frame. He doesn't have the size to be dropping back 40, 45 times. It's just not – that's not the formula for success for a quarterback at his size and even just for a younger quarterback in general. So they need to figure that out fast, bro. In the draft for them, they got to get off. They got to work in the trenches. Whatever cap space they're going to have going forward has to be all based on what they do on that up front because and they have to protect him, bro. They have to protect him. You got to keep him upright. You're gonna have him for the number 1 pick. You kept that. You traded up to get the pick. You got to protect him now.
Absolutely. Move on to the Cowboys and the Cardinals. Just another one. I mean, we talked about it earlier with the Texans and the Jags. Just was not expecting this one. Now, listen, I tweeted it out over there on the hard count, which, by the way, you should follow on Twitter. I don't know why you aren't already. But Cardinals might not win a lot of games this year. We expected them to be, very, very bad in competition for that first overall pick. And at the end of the day, I still think that they'll be, a pretty bad team. But they're a challenge. They're a challenge. I mean, I give credit where credit is due. They've been in every single game that they've played so far. They've been big underdogs in every single game. And they've at least covered the spread in every game that they've been involved in. And they've made things close. I mean, this was one of those games where it's almost, I guess it's like that kind of like disbelief thing in a weird way, where you see the Cardinals up and you're like, okay, well, the Cowboys are obviously going to come back in the second half. Like, then it's the second half and you're like, okay, well, obviously the Cowboys, probably going to get a turnover here and, they'll march down the field on offense, get a stop. And, listen, I know it's looking weird right now. And then it just never happens. And then you actually look up and it says the little final, in the score box. And you're like, all right, well, that kind of just happened. Listen, this has always kind of been the story of the Cowboys, though. I mean, obviously, a lot of expectations were put on them after those first 2 weeks. But it always just feels like once they're at that point, something goes wrong. Stephen A. Smith always says, "What can go wrong will go wrong." Um, and obviously, it's only week 3 of the season, and they are still 2-1. So obviously, they're having a good year so far. But it's just, I will say that their red zone, they got to figure that one out because they don't know how to score in the red zone. So maybe once they get figured out, everything will be a-okay. Obviously, I mean, we were not because it happened. What did it happen? Friday? I want to say that Trayvon Diggs tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the year, so obviously that is a huge hit to their defense. Whether you think he's overrated, this, that, or whatever, listen, when the ball comes his way, he catches it. He has a lot of interceptions, turnover machine, and obviously not having him is going to hurt. Also, to be fair to the Cowboys, not just pile on them, I think they had 3 of their offensive linemen out for this game, so obviously that did not help the offense. And I mean, that they've been full of Hall of Famers on their offensive line for years now. So when you start missing guys like that, and even watching the Pat McAfee show today, they had AQ Shipley on, former center, and he made a good point. There's usually a solid difference in starting versus backup, but especially on the offensive line. Like offensive line, you go from and he gave this example. He said, "There's a reason starters on the offensive line are making $20 million, and you see the backup they're making like $800,000." Like there is a stark downgrade usually when you start getting into the backup offensive lineman, and that's what the Cowboys were dealing with 3 of them. So you gotta cut them slight slack there, but still you should figure out a way to beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, still find a way. I think they had 5 red zone trips. I was only able to score, I think, twice, field goal and a couple field goals, and a touchdown. So, and then late in the game, Dak, throws it in a triple coverage. It's like, bro, what are you doing? I mean, like, what are you looking at there? The Cardinals, Gannon. It's really unfortunate that Kyler Murray had Cliff Kingsbury as his head coach. I feel like it was a sabotage because he the way he built that team was terrible. That's not the way you build your team around a young quarterback. He had Kyler, in shotgun pretty much damn near every single play, running around, making plays, trying to, be Houdini out there, as opposed to bolstering up that offensive line, running the football. And that's what they've been able to do these first couple of weeks. And that's why they've been in these games at the start of the season, because Gannon coming from Philadelphia, seeing that formula work and seeing that formula win a bunch of football games, that's the right way to go. That's the right way to go. So me seeing that, it gives me some type of hope for this Cardinal team when they do get Kyler back, because they're building around him the right way, finally. And as you should, especially with him coming off an injury, you should start to run the football. You don't want to have him do everything and put all that pressure on his knee just because we know he's a mobile quarterback. So this is good. This is a good sign. From what I've seen from Arizona, are they going to win a bunch of games? I don't think so. But they're not just going to be a team that's just going to completely lay down and that you're just going to beat by 30 every single week. I don't see that happening at all. For Dallas, this is a classic Dallas game. I mean, where everybody hypes them up and thinks they're going to be this, all-world team and undefeated. Nobody can stop them. And then when they play a team, they go up against a team and then that they should beat and they lose. This is what they do this every single year. They do this all the time. This is classic. This classic Cowboys. Dak just has to play better. He just has to play better, man. You're making a boatload of money. You're a top 7 paid quarterback in the league. You have to play like it. You have to play like it at the highest level. And when you go down to the red zone, you got to score, bro. You got some. It's not like he's deprived of talent on offense. You got Tony Pollard, who had a really good game in this game. You got CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, Brandon Cooks, Ferguson at tight end. Like it's no excuse. It's really no excuse. So this is why I'm pretty sure there's some Cowboy fans that they're kind of done with Dak a little bit, because they see he kind of is what he is at this point. He shows flashes of greatness at times, but there's also some times he turns the football over, and he didn't have any turnovers up until this game, which is good. He has to keep that up. He has to keep having some turnover-free games if they want to have a shot, because I think this defense is good. I think they do struggle with the run defense, and they've struggled with run defense over the last few seasons. Up front, they haven't been as great. A team that is elite up front that we'll get into in a couple games here, Philadelphia, they got some guys up front, like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, like those dudes, and they're like first year, second year players in the NFL. Those guys are already making impacts, and they're elite. Dallas is still trying to find that elite interior defensive lineman. You know, they have the elite edge rusher, Micah Parsons, one of the best players in the world. But in terms of finding that interior guy, they just haven't been able to find that. And DeMarcus Lawrence is pretty good too. They just haven't been able to find that interior guy. So tough loss for Dallas. Does it really hurt them a lot? No, because as we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, the NFC isn't that stacked, so they could still, come back and make up for it. Going to be an interesting game against New England on Sunday, for sure. Definitely be glued to that one, because the last game they had in New England was a pretty good game. It was a good game. It was a really good game, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, both teams need a dub. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens in that one for sure. I mean, like when the biggest story is this game is who Kelsey's hanging out with.
Which by the way, I can't do it.
I can't do it either, bro.
I saw more the amount of Taylor Swift tweets from like actual credible people too. Like ESPN is out tweeting it. Like, yeah, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. Listen, one time. Can I get one time? I understand. It's cool. Whatever. But then again, I guess you kind of got to lean into it, because did you see everything that happened? It was like there was like an 80% viewer increase from the female demographic from like 19 to like age 30 something or whatever. So like, listen, I guess you kind of got to cover it, because listen, we all know how greedy the NFL is. That if it's gonna increase your viewership in a certain demographic, hey, Taylor Swift's here. Get her on camera, brother. Listen, I know the game's important. Get her on camera again, though. So, like, I listen, as a production major and everything of that nature, and seeing some marketing things, fully understand it. But it's going to make me jump out of my window. I already see things today. Reports that Taylor Swift will be attending the Chiefs Jet game this Monday. Really? Or Sunday night? Really? Now I got to get Taylor Swift updates.
Yeah, it's just
What are we talking about here?
I can't do it, bro. I'll just say this, bro. Whatever they do, I honestly really don't care about what celebrities do with their lives. Honestly,
not even a little bit.
I think, the more we just look at them as just like regular people, stop looking at them as just celebrities, I think the world would definitely be a better place, because they are just human beings, talented in a certain field. That's just really all they are. But I get it, bro. The NFL, like you said, it's marketing. I didn't know that demographic stat. It makes all the sense why they kept cutting her, throughout the game. It was just.
This man's jersey sales went up 500%.
Yeah, it's like good for them. Good for them, man. Wish them the best, whatever happens there. I'll just leave it at that. But Kansas City, it was good to see them get back on track offensively. They kind of struggled the first couple of weeks, and kind of looking like the Kansas City we're accustomed to seeing. And I think in this game they got back to it. Perfect game to do it, because the Bears sucked. And Justin Fields, it's not just on him, bro. I mean, it's a lot of it is on the offensive coordinator. A lot of it is on the offensive coordinator.
I was gonna say, a lot of the talking heads don't blame Justin Fields at all.
Yeah, when I watch him, I see he can make the deep pass, right? Which is cool. I mean, you give any quarterback time, they can make a lot of quarterbacks can make that pass. He's talented. He has great arm strength. It's just the the short and intermediate passes, the anticipatory throws, and these are things that people questioned with Hurts 2 years ago. Like people forget, bro. Like when going after they lost to Tampa Bay in the playoffs, people were really saying Gardner Minshew.
Move on.
People say like, yo, Gardner Minshew should be the starter. I was like, yo, wow, like really? That's crazy. You're not going to give him at least another year in the offense with Sirianni and see if he can figure it out. And then we've seen what happened, bro. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Justin Fields doesn't have that, any of it. Doesn't have a great offensive line. DJ Moore, I thought it was going to be a upgrade, but he can't seem to find a rhythm in this offense. And again, I have to look at the OC. You have to look at him, bro. I mean, he's sitting there preparing and creating schemes every single day to get ready for Sunday. It's just not working there. The O-line isn't there. The run game isn't there outside of Fields. Like he shouldn't be your best runner. Like he should be one of, but not your best. Defensively, I'm accustomed to seeing some bad Chicago Bears offense. It's rare that you see both. Like you usually see like at least a solid Bears defense out there making some plays here and there. Not seeing that. This was just an automatic blowout, just like we saw up in Miami with the Broncos, man. So yeah, just an old school whipping by the Chiefs. And the only good thing to say about this one was, again, it was good to see the Chiefs get back on board, and it looked like what we used to see them over the last few years.
CJ is not a Swiftie. Can't confirm that.
Yeah, it's just I'm not, bro.
Steelers at the Raiders. Steelers get the 23-18 victory here. Hey, defense is looking good over there with the Steelers. TJ Watt might be listen, we talked a lot about Micah Parsons so far this year and everything and that. Now, listen, I know TJ Watt gets talked about plenty, but still.
Yeah.
6 sacks already, 3 weeks into the season. He's coming for that record.
Well, I mean, he got the record. He's coming. He's trying to be the sole number one. He tied it. Yeah, so he's trying to be, number one. Period. Like ahead of everybody. Get to 23. He's on his way. The guy is just so good, man. Their offense is not good at all. Najee Harris, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with that. He's kind of like trying to be like Le'Veon, and it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. They got some talented Pickens. Like he'll get one catch for 50, and then you'll never see him for the rest of the game.
See him again.
Beyonce. They got some solid guys in the Fryer move. Like they got some quality talent. You would think. Pickett, good but not great. But the defense is really carrying them. They got embarrassed against San Fran week 1, and then outside of that, it's just been their defense. Just Pickett really has to, again, it's kind of like what I said with Mac, bro. Just not turn the ball over and just let this defense take care of business. And when you got Josh McDaniels and Jimmy Garoppolo on the other side, I mean that's just an easy formula because those guys, they're just not. They're just not good enough. It's not good enough. They're mid. Both of those guys are mid. I said this already last week. McDaniels is obviously Brady Belichick made. He tries to be like Belichick, which you're your own man. Your name is Josh McDaniels. Like, why would you try to be Bill Belichick? Why would you try to be another man? Like, the locker room's not gonna respect you if you're trying to be someone else. He should have learned that after the debacle in Denver, but he didn't learn it. The Raiders, what they tried to do, they tried to create like Patriot West, like Mark Davis tried to create like the Patriot West, and it's just like it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. They need to find a quarterback pronto. Like they need to find a once they find a quarterback, and that man, like obviously they're in the same conference as the Patriots, so I don't want them to I want them to succeed. I do want them to succeed because I've always been like a fan of the colors and just everything. So it's like the fan base is so loyal. You know what I mean? They wherever, Oakland, LA, they just travel, so it doesn't matter where they're at. They're still going to be there. If they can find a guy at quarterback. I mean, that'd just be a great story, for the Raiders. It'd just be a great story for that team. Jimmy Garoppolo, as soon as they signed him in the offseason, like, oh yeah, 5 wins. Like that's what when it when they signed him, I was like, oh yeah, 5 to 6 wins because he's not that good. And in the Sunday Night Football, it was showing the stats, his completion percentage and his win percentage. I'm like, bro, like context matters. And if a casual looked at that, they'd be like, oh, this guy's like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. If a casual looked at those stats before Jimmy Garoppolo, how they show the stats Sunday Night Football, and he's like, they show the completion percentage and the win percentage. Someone that just started watching football, you'd be like, yo, this guy's like top 5 in the league. Not so much.
And then you realize he was on the 49ers.
Yeah, exactly. And the Patriots for a cup of coffee. Like, it's just he's just not that dude, bro. And I said this on one of the our account tweets after the game. It was just like, he's just not that guy, man. And Devontae Adams, man, I feel for him, bro. I really do. I feel for him.
Might not be a Raider for much longer with the way he's talking.
I mean, can you blame him?
Oh no,
can you blame him? It's just mediocrity. It's really mediocrity. The grass isn't always greener when these guys want to go to different teams. The grass, it's working out for Tyreek Hill, not working out for Devontae Adams. It's not. It's just what I'm saying. Like, we see these guys, these players, they trade places and go to different squads. We assume, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen. And he's putting up numbers. He had $150, like 10 play. He's putting up crazy numbers. Excellent. He's one of the best receivers ever, bro. One of the best receivers ever for sure. Definitely right now in the league. And but he wants to win. He wants to win. He doesn't want to play me. He's been in NFC Conference Championship games. He's been, division winner. Like he's used to winning. So it's like he's not. It's now or never for him. And yeah, as these weeks go on, could definitely see his name on the trade block for sure. And it'll be very interesting to see where he goes because he could definitely change the landscape of a team. Of one of these teams for sure, whether it's in in the AFC or in the NFC. So I could definitely see him getting traded because I don't see this team going far. Obviously, with Jimmy Garoppolo being the quarterback, and I definitely don't see this team going far with Josh McDaniels being the head coach. So
absolutely not. Team that probably will go far, that would be the Eagles, and they start off their season 3-0 again, 25-11 over the Buccaneers. Nothing crazy for me in this game, kind of what I expected. Bucs started off 2-0. Cool, I guess. Defense looks good. Mike Evans, still a dog, by the way. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Eagles are they're still not clicking if you're asking me on offense, obviously. But listen, you lose your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, you're still 3-0. Yeah, I think you sign up for that one, boss. And I think after week 1, you were kind of like, why'd they even trade for DeAndre Swift? Week 2 and 3, you kind of figured out why. Because just leave him in the game. Use Kelsey. Use Lane Johnson. And what is it, Mailata, I believe it is as well.
Jordan Mailata,
I mean, just run the ball, brother. Just keep on going because – that is, I mean, that offensive and defensive line are just it's just sickening,
bro.
I mean, what are you supposed to do with that?
That D line is so dominant, bro. That both trenches, both sides of the football, the trenches, man. Howie Roseman, bro. I mean, he's just done a phenomenal job since taking over this team. I think I want to say like 8 years ago. Man, really has a Super Bowl, been in the Super Bowl twice. What they've been able to do, acquire talent, extend talent, find guys in the later rounds, find guys in the earlier rounds, and they're productive right away. That D-line, that's why it was so astonishing to me where they didn't record a sack. In the Super, like I couldn't. They had the most sacks in the NFL, and they didn't even get one sack against the Chiefs.
That damn grass.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I guess I was
shocked. That's what they say. Both teams said that the turf or whatever the hell it was, there was like no footing on it. And obviously, no footing is good for your offensive line because you can just stick your feet in the ground. You know when the snap is. Defensive line, you got to get off or whatever.
Yeah.
They said that they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it played a factor. It must have played a factor. I mean, damn, because I was like, they couldn't get one sack. These guys had like 78 sacks in the regular season. It was crazy. Their interior alignment, but they have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter for the next, like, at least let's just say 4 years, right? You know, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep both of them for a decade, but at least they got them for half. And I mean, how does he fall to Philadelphia, bro? Like, I know he had the stuff going on right off the field, everything that transpired, but for Philadelphia to scoop him up, bro, it's just wow. You can't run the football on that. You just can't. I mean, you first and second down with those two guys up front. Oh, and then you got Fletcher Cox. Oh, and you got Brandon Graham. Like, and Barnett's still there, even though he's kind of been talking about maybe wanting to potentially be moved. Josh Sweat, edge rusher, being on there third and long, coming in there, being a specialist for pass rush. It's like, what do you do? And you got top secondary, top corner duo in the league, and Slay and Bradbury. Maddox is out, but if Maddox is there, he's one of the best safeties in the league, nickel guys in the league. It's just. And then I haven't even talked about the offensive line, and this is what I want to talk about here because a lot of people have been complaining and whining on social media about the QB sneak, right? And this is crazy. So yes, I'm not even going to call it that, bro. It's just weird. But what's the problem? Like, what's the problem? What's the problem? And I'm seeing the people in the media, they're saying, get this play out the league. I'm like, seriously? Like, get this play because us being Patriot fans, Tom was this what Tom used to do. 6'4", hike it, go right in that A gap, right next to the center, bro. And he's just fall for a yard. You know how many drives he extended doing that? And he's not even a running quarterback. So, like the media, they want to come out and say, take this out the game because they're doing it so well. How about not letting them get to 3rd and 1? Like, why is that is that a foreign like mindset? Like, how about stop them from getting to 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1? Then maybe they wouldn't do it. Like this guy, Nick Wright, he's like, if it would guarantee them 4 to 5 yards, they would take it out the league. But since it only guarantees them 1 yard, they're going to keep it in the league. I'm like, bro, how about you stop them from getting to 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1?
I've seen that the problem they really have with it is the fact that you can go behind the quarterback and push. Like the QB sneak, obviously, it was like the quarterback falling forward, but this is you're lining people up behind him and pushing forward. And like I saw Richard Sherman tweet out something that it's a problem because the offense can do it, but they outlawed it for the defense to do it on things like field goal blocks and stuff like that. But I mean,
okay. So I would just say bring it back for defense and just make it an even playing field. If that's the case, like if they're going to take it out for defense and only keep it for offense, yeah, that's not fair. I agree with that. So make it even. But just to say like, bro, again, not a lot of people can do this. One, you have to have an elite offensive line, which the Eagles have, and you have to have a strong quarterback. I mean, and again, like Brady wasn't the strongest guy, but he had the frame to get 1 to 2 yards if need be, or 4th and inches, whatever it needed to be to get the first down and move the chains. The Eagles had that.
And Jalen Hurts is squatting 600 pounds.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They're saying he's squatted all, so he could get that yard easy. So it's just weird to me, man. They always the league, these people in media, they always try to find something to complain about every single year. It never fails. It can never just be a calm, let's just watch football, let's learn about the game. Let's talk about this and bring something. It's always something, bro. But the Eagles are dominant, like you said. They have new coordinators on both sides of the football, and they're still winning. And I saw some people saying, I'll take 49ers over the Eagles because the 49ers have dominated the teams they've gone up against. The Eagles have kind of been close games. And this game was close a little bit up until, the second half where the Eagles kind of broke away. But again, like we said, when you have new guys calling plays, it's going to take some time. And for them to still win games and by big margins as well. Like they won us by 2 touchdowns. That's a big margin.
Yeah. I guess they haven't been dominant. Like the game's been that Viking game was not close. Was the final score close? Yeah. Did you watch the game? It wasn't close.
It wasn't close.
At no point did you think the Vikings were winning that game. Zero.
No,
Zilch. Nada.
Zero. And what they did in this drive too, you know, the way they ran, I mean, in this game, they kept the football away from the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers had like an opportunity there because I think they scored and got a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whoa, like they might make it interesting. And Swift, Hurts, those guys, the way they could control the clock is special, bro. It's not an easy thing to do, especially because you're on the field for that amount of time to not get penalties. Like you have to be so disciplined to do that, bro. I think a lot of people underrate that. A lot of people just love the air yards and all that, but to be on the field for 10 plus minutes, not get any penalties from your O-line, from your receivers, move the chains consecutively, drive series after series, drive after drive. That's a tough, and then go and score at that. That's execution, bro, and that's why they're one of the best teams in the league. So they did a great job, man, and I just don't see any other team competing with them other than San Fran in the NFC. I think we're easily going to see a rematch in January.
Hopefully, a healthy one this time.
Yes,
but we move on to the final game of the week. That was the Rams visiting the Bengals. Bengals looking to avoid an 0-3 start to the year, and they did so. 19-16 over the Rams. Was not very pretty, obviously. I believe going into halftime it was like 6-6, something of that nature. Jamar Chase finally had a very big game here. Joe Burrow did not look like himself, I'll say. And you can tell that the calf was definitely still bothering him. But hey, he came out after the game and basically said, listen, I had a choice of potentially going 0-3 and not playing, or going out there, maybe re-aggravating injury. And he decided that was more important. And obviously you got to kind of credit him for it, because this is the opposite of the NFC, where you go 0-3 in the AFC, you might be done there, brother. Now, listen, do the Bengals have the talent to, go on a 10-0 run? Absolutely. Very good team. But you make it a hell of a lot harder when you're 0-3 to start the season. They did a nice job on defense, listen, Puka and Nakua had like 9,000 yards and 400 catches through the first 2 games of the season. And he wasn't, very active in this one. So they obviously shut him down. And I think this is a nice win for the Bengals. This is a nice win for them. And you kind of had to have it, and they got it.
Yeah, this is a big win for Cincinnati. And this is my thing with Zach Taylor. It's like why is Joe Burrow dropping back so many times with the calf injury? I mean, you're just really just putting him at risk.
He threw 49 passes.
That's not a formula for success when your franchise has a calf injury. We just saw another franchise lose their guy in 4 plays up in New York, and he had a calf injury throughout the offseason, throughout training camp.
Yes, he did.
And obviously, we saw what happened with KD a couple years ago when he had a calf injury, played through it, and we know what happened with that. So you got to be really careful with these calf injuries for sure, man. Especially playing that position where you're dropping back, you have to move your feet, stay in the pocket because guys are coming at you. What should you do? Run the ball. Like, I just don't get it. Why they not run the ball? It's like as soon as they ran the ball, this is when they broke away and won the game. Mixon had that big touchdown when they started running the football. This is what I wanted them to do against the Rams in the Super Bowl, which they didn't do, which is why they lost, in my opinion. Because they moved away from giving the ball to Joe Mixon, bro. It's not like they don't have a run game. They have one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, he's been one of the most productive running backs in the last 5 years. He gets a stack. He gets a stack plus scrimmage yards almost every single year, and that was before even Burrow got there. So he's always been good. So they need to do more of that. I understand they have elite talent on the outside. With the wide receivers, but if you want to win these type of games, you have to be able to establish a run game, and I think their offensive line is better suited for running the football anyway. At least what it looks like right now. So this is a good win by the Bengals. The Rams, they kind of made it interesting. Tutu Atwell kind of got the touchdown. late there, but Bengals were able to get it done. Chad got his jersey retired by the Bengals. Chad Ochocinco got his jersey retired by the Bengals, and during this game, I think it was a special moment for him. One of the greatest Bengals ever. Definitely transcended the league when he was playing. Big time player, one of the best releases any wide receiver I've ever seen. Legend for sure. So it was a good win for Cincinnati, man. Like you said, you don't want to go in the 0-3 hole in that division, let alone the conference. And I think the Rams, they'll be all right. I think that they'll be all right when Cooper Kupp comes back. When you got Nakua and Kupp, I want to see what that duo looks like. I think that'll be a fun duo to watch. They're a team they have to establish the run. I believe they traded Cam Akers, right?
7th round pick
to he's in Minnesota now, right?
That he is.
So McVay wants to run the football. They haven't really been able to find that premier back. And McVay comes from that West Coast system. And he hasn't been able to find that premier running back in this scheme, in this offense. It's very interesting because the 49ers have it. And the Dolphins have it, and they all come from the same tree. So I'm going to see the Rams, sooner than later, find that. After 3 weeks of being at 20, and they still haven't really hit their stride yet. Yeah, 29th is not good. It's not good, but it was important for them to get this win. And this is what I'm saying. Like even if that's not super high, like again, just run the rock, bro. Like give it to Mixon. Like stop putting this guy at risk this early in the season. It's a long season. You want to have him there in the playoffs, in the conference. This guy's been in the conference championship game the last 2 years, and it's made it competitive with the best team in football the last 3 years with the Chiefs. He's probably the only one that you could go up against. Like, oh, okay, Burrow's going up against Mahomes. This just could be a pick 'em. Like, it's not just always.
And the Bills,
but not in the playoffs though.
What do you mean? They had that divisional game in the overtime. They changed the rule because of it.
What do you mean? You mean the Chiefs and the? Oh yeah, that was a great game. That was a great game. That was
in terms of playoff I've ever seen. By the way,
but I mean. What you said? No, I was saying
you got it. Go.
I was saying, like, in terms of them actually defeating Mahomes. Like, Burrow's that's what I mean. Like, Burrow's the only one that's been able to do that. That game was super competitive for sure. That game was super competitive. But when Cincinnati played the Bills last year, Cincinnati blasted them. You know what I mean? So it's just Burrow and Mahomes. Yeah, it was a weird one, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really Mahomes and Burrow. So you got to keep this guy fresh. You got to keep this guy healthy, bro. You have to for the long haul. And I think obviously running the rock is the best formula, at least right now.
Been sacked over 120 times, CJ. And it's his 5th season in the league, by the way.
And he's already had an ACL injury, bro, and missed the whole year.
Shout out to former Yankee manager Joe Girardi. It is not what you want. It's not what you want.
It's not what you want. So they need to figure that out pronto, man.
What the people do want, though, is our week 4 predictions, CJ. And that's what we're going to have to deliver. That's what we're going to have to deliver to them. We're going to have to because we're just that kind. CJ, how about you take us through these?
Yes, sir. All right. We got a NFC North showdown. We talked about this a little bit. We got the Lions and the Packers. You got?
I'm going to go with the Lions in this one. Especially because the Packers, I believe, 2 of their offensive linemen out, Bakhtiari and a guard. They're also missing who's their linebacker? I can't remember who it is.
Green Bay?
Yeah, Green Bay.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the report yet.
I believe one of their known middle linebackers out. I believe it is. And they also are missing a safety in this game. So the injury report not looking great for the Packers. Aaron Jones probably going to return. Christian Watson might be back, but I'll still go with the brand new Lions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Detroit because, again, as I said earlier, this is like we're here. Like, this is our time to run a division. Yes, definitely. This is a statement type game to show not only the world but also the fans in this division that this is our time. We're here. We're here. It was last year. Just wasn't an anomaly. So I'm gonna go with Detroit here. Falcons and the Jaguars. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. Get another opportunity to get a win at home. They need to get that done.
I will go with Jacksonville as well. This is the London game.
Right. Okay. So it's not.
Well, and here works even better for the Jags, in my opinion. They play there every single season, so they know the whole travel situation, how to get over there. 6 hours ahead, all that BS or whatever it is. They're kind of used to it now. They do it every year. Maybe a newer thing for the Falcons. Maybe it's a nice little advantage for the Jags.
Yeah, they got to bounce back after that loss to Houston. Either way, home, London. Yeah, like you said, London's like second home for them over the last year. So I got Jacksonville. AFC East showdown. This like game of the week type style. Yeah, this game of the week for me.
And it's that
Dolphins going to Buffalo in late September. So
it's not that snowy, Miami going up to negative temperature. I want to go with the Dolphins.
Wow. I mean, you're a big Josh Allen guy.
I am a big Josh Allen guy, but I mean, when you put up 70,
Yeah, I can see this being a shootout, bro. I really can. Both of these offenses have been playing well the last few weeks. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins as well. Again, this is kind of similar to what I said about the Lions and the Packers. I mean, Buffalo's owned the division over the last 3 years, and I think Miami wants to, make that statement and say, okay, you had a nice little run over the last 2 years. Our time to own the AFC East. So this would be a good start for them, getting that division win and getting it done. I got Miami. Vikings and the Panthers. I got Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, I got Minnesota as well.
We got
the complete opposite of the Dolphins and the Bills.
Yeah, definitely. The Broncos and the Bears. I'm going with Denver. I just feel like they have to get this done, bro. They have to get this win.
I would tend to agree with you there. I'm going to go with the Broncos.
We got Ravens and the Browns. Lamar versus Deshaun. Woo! Ravens coming off a tough loss. Browns coming off a dominant win.
This is tough. I'm going with the Brownies here.
Oh, you're going with the Browns. Yeah, this is tough, bro. I'm gonna go Baltimore. This is close though. I'm gonna go Baltimore, but this is gonna be a good game. We're definitely gonna be tuned into that one for sure. All right, we got Steelers and the Texans. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I like what I saw from Stroud, obviously, but that defense against a young quarterback, I think it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Steelers as well. TJ Watt, big game.
Yeah, for sure. Rams, Rams and the Colts. I don't know the status of Anthony Richardson. I think Minshew's gonna play in this game. I think. Obviously, it's still kind of early in the week. So, but either way, I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Yeah, if Anthony Richardson was playing, I really low key think I'd go with the Colts. But I will go with the Rams because I am unsure.
Bucks and the Saints is going to be a defensive battle. Kamara coming back. Baker versus a 900% Derek Carr. I'm gonna go with the Saints because the Bucks just haven't really been able to figure it out in New Orleans.
Yeah, I will. I'll go with the Saints as well. Literally because of the home team.
Yeah, they just dominate Tampa Bay. That'll be a big win for Baker if we can get that done in New Orleans.
Huge.
Commanders and the Eagles. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, next.
I mean, no, you know what? Let me say this is a divisional game.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
They're close. Division games are close, but I still think Philadelphia will get it done.
Just the better team.
Exactly. Bengals and the Titans. Playoff showdown from rematch from a couple years ago. I got Cincinnati. They got to get it rolling. It starts now. They got to get it rolling.
Yep, I would agree. Tennessee just is not very good at football, I don't think.
Yeah. Raiders and the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers again for the same reasons for Cincinnati. They got to get on a nice little streak here.
I'm going to go with the Chargers, but this is literally one of the games you expect them to win. They should, and that they end up losing at the end of the game somehow. I feel it in my bones.
Patriots and the Cowboys.
I'd love to pick our boys here, CJ, but I can't.
I'm gonna go with New England. I think the defense gets a couple turnovers on Dak, and you just gotta hope and pray Mac doesn't turn the ball over. But I think the Patriots defense gets some stops on Dak where he turns the ball over a lot. NFC West showdown. Cardinals and the 49ers. Cardinals been a nice little story, but Josh Dobbs, but they're going to get outmatched in San Fran.
Yeah, don't even disrespect me and ask who I think is going to win here.
Same thing, probably same mindset for this next one.
I mean, listen. Chiefs and Jets. Yeah.
It sucks, man, because, looking at the schedule before the season started, this would have been a hell of a game, right? Rodgers versus Mahomes in the AFC, but tough. But I got Kansas City. They're going to get – they should win by a bunch of points. Monday Night Football, Seahawks and the Giants.
Sneaky good game.
Yeah, it's a sneaky good game. I mean, I don't know what we're going to get from the Giants, bro. That damn –
Oh, actually, CJ, a little update here. Anthony Richardson, I'm on Sports Center right now. It says Anthony Richardson returns with first team refs.
Okay, I'm gonna still pick the Rams though. I'm gonna still take the Rams.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Colts now.
Into the Colts. Okay.
A switcherooski.
Monday Night Football. Back to one Monday Night Football game, which I'm a fan of.
Thank God.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I just don't know what I'm gonna get. I don't know Saquon's status coming off the ankle. He should be ready to go, but I don't know. Because he didn't play on Thursday. He got like 10 days off. He should be ready to go, but I have no clue. But either way, I'm gonna go with Seattle. I don't trust Daniel Jones. So.
Yeah, I'm going with Seattle. Well, I just think it's the better offense, and I've never been a Daniel Jones guy.
It's tough, man.
Well, listen, everybody. That would be the end of the show. Another long one, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. You got to go through these games. You got to give opinions. You got to give predictions. And
we try to go under 2, but it's tough, bro. It's tough. We got so many thoughts about the games, and we got to get our thoughts across.
Hey, content is content. And is it really long if you're actually having a great time? But with that being said, Anthony Conover _ on Twitter, Hard Count NFL, right? CJ. On Twitter?
Hard count NFL, hard count _.
Hard count _ There we go. Yeah. I should probably know that considering it's our show. But make sure you go give us a follow there. Make sure if you're listening now, you subscribe on YouTube, comment. It always helps us out. Available wherever you get your podcast.
Yes, sir. Like and subscribe on YouTube, man. Trying to get the YouTube going. We just hit 10. I know it may not be a lot to most, but we're trying to
you celebrate the victories.
We're celebrating the victory. We're trying to get to 50. Definitely trying to get to 50. Road to 50 subscribers. So, if you any new people, if you're seeing this, man, hit that subscribe button. We live every Tuesday. I know it's Wednesday right now, but we were always usually live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So check us out, man. Like the video when you like the live stream, gets that algorithm going so more people can see it when they type NFL or the hard count. On the search engine. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You can find me on X, cjames9 _ Instagram, cj.james9 as well, man. Appreciate you guys.
All right, everybody. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and listen. Catch you on the next one, all right?